Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Straight Outta Boston here. Today I'm back for episode number 5 of my Road to the Show series here on MLB 17 The Show with Jason Schaefer, the newest shortstop for the Oakland Athletics after being called up from Double-A last episode. And here he is taking it all in just before his first major league at-bat, stepping in to the batter's box at O.Co Coliseum for the first time as a major league player. And as you can see, he is taking it all in and trying to get himself ready, calm the nerves, I'm sure, going up against the Toronto Blue Jays, who already have a 6-0 lead on the A's here this evening. And that is a ground out for Schaefer later in the evening. Now 9-2, J.A. Happ still out there for Toronto, and it is Schaefer jumping on that high fastball and taking it back up the middle into center field for his first career big league single, his first career big league hit. And that is a memory he will surely never forget. And now he's trying to get his first big league steal, and he does have it, sliding into second base safely there, getting a nice jump on Happ. He would not score, unfortunately, as it's still 9-2 here in the 6th. And Schaefer to deep left center and gone! His first career big league home run in his debut. And how about that? Jason Schaefer making a name for himself already here in Oakland, as he is giving the fans a show here tonight. Not much of a game as they still trail 9-3 to Toronto, but trying to make the most of it is Schaefer, as he's got his second hit and his first big league home run. And of course getting the typical silent treatment there from his new teammates. But of course they will congratulate him eventually. Happy to see him contribute to the big league club already. It's 9-5 now in the 8th. And Schaefer using the showtime, he's got his third hit of the ball game. And that is quite the debut for Oakland's newest shortstop, as he will step onto first base, and that would do a 3 for 4 in his debut. So the biggest news from the weekend in the real baseball world would have had to have been Curtis Granderson getting traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers for what was originally a player to be named later, turned out to be Jacob Ram, for a minor league relief pitcher for the Dodgers, who actually is not bad, definitely has the potential to be a good reliever in the big leagues. But I think, you know, the most surprising thing for a lot of people was how little Granderson went for, despite being one of the best hitters in the National League since May 1st, or I believe, I don't remember quite what the exact number is, but I know after his slow start to the year, he has been red hot pretty much for the last 3-4 months, and you know, will certainly help out that Dodgers team. Now, I saw Mike Petriello tweeting out some potential outfields for them, outfield mixes. They have lots of potential matchups that they can use and, you know, move guys around with because of the versatility of guys like Chris Taylor and Cody Bellinger, guys who can play the infield and outfield. So you can see there's Schaefer with another bomb right there, his second of his big league career. And showboating a little bit here on the Tampa Bay Rays, Blake Snell, none too pleased, I'm sure, as you can see I'm just disrespecting. I'm disrespecting Tampa Bay almost more than I disrespected Arkansas right now, as look at this, my second career home run, and I'm already laughing at the starter. And I'm not sure this is such a great idea, Mr. Schaefer, but Ryan Healy playing along as well. But anyway, Granderson only, you know, fortifies that LA mix of position players. I think the bigger thing for them is gonna be to see how they deal with Adrian Gonzalez coming back and how they're gonna work him into the mix. Who is gonna lose at bats because of that? I think, you know, if it's guys like Chase Utley and Logan Forsythe, that's probably fine, and you know that's where a guy like Taylor's versatility comes into the mix, because he can play second base, and if he plays second base instead of the outfield, that means you can move Bellinger into the outfield. And that, you know, the thing I don't love about that is it probably means Granderson or maybe Bellinger's playing center field, or you might have a below average, you know, defensive center fielder, which I don't love personally. Defense has been a big part of the Dodgers' success this season. They have the #1 defensive efficiency in baseball this year, and I believe their ERA is like almost 0.4 of a run lower than their fielding independent pitching metrics. So I think you know, that's a good sign of a good defense. And I think if they have a below average center fielder, that could be a problem. But you know, that's the thing about sending Peterson down, is although he has struggled at times with the bat this year, he has been a solid defensive center fielder. So I don't know if it's going to be more Chris Taylor, or if they're going to trot out Granderson there a bunch against right-handed pitching, or you know, who knows, but we will see either way. Maybe we'll see some Bellinger in there. I know he played a little bit of center field earlier in the year. But either way, the rich get richer. I mean, the Dodgers, I think the most shocking thing, as I said, was just the price that it took to get him was, you know, almost nothing, just one relief pitcher prospect that was, you know, originally a player to be named later. And, I mean, you know, that's just the way the market was this year. We saw Jay Bruce get traded for pretty much nothing a couple years ago. And really all of the, I think you just look at the position the Mets were forced into, unfortunately. It was just not a good year to be a seller at the deadline. I think we saw that with Detroit, too. Detroit didn't really get a great deal for JD Martinez. I think the deal for Justin Wilson was okay, but they probably could have gotten more a year ago or even in the offseason with a guy like that, and especially a guy like Verlander, who, although Verlander has certainly you know, started to rebuild his value after the All-Star break. I'll talk a little bit more about him in a minute, but anyway, you might have noticed a stance change for Jason Schaefer. I changed it to I want to say, I think it's Prospect Stance 6, and I think it's actually the one they gave Rafael Devers on the OS rosters, which is why I was trying it out. And it kind of has a nice little follow-through, sort of a two-handed, kind of like a Chris Young 3. You'll see it nicely on this swing right here, actually. I remember this clip, but see, it kind of follows through 3/4 of the way almost, like Chris Young. And it's kind of a nice little swing, a little bit different than some of the other swings in this game, so decided to switch it up. But back to what I was saying about the Mets, they just didn't really get great deals for any of their veteran bats that they traded. Duda, Jay Bruce, and Granderson all got traded for, you know, close to nothing, just sort of relief pitcher prospects, I think, all of those guys. So kind of disappointing returns, I would say, if you were the Mets at the beginning of the year and you said, well, if, you know, if we're not going to contend this year, we have a bunch of veteran bats who are going to be free agents at the end of the year who we could sell off at the trade deadline and try to get good returns for, you know, wouldn't have been the end of the world, but instead they kind of didn't really get good deals on any of them. So that's just the way the market was. That's the way the market's been now pretty much since last offseason. We saw guys like Edwin Encarnacion and Yoenis Cespedes kind of struggle to get the massive contracts I think they wanted, and even Jose Bautista, coming off of a down year, was only able to get a one-year deal, and is probably not going to be able to get better than that this offseason once again. So anyway, Justin Verlander on the AL side of things has gotten very, very hot the last handful of starts that he's made. He's been dominant. He pitched very well against the best team in baseball over the weekend, the Los Angeles Dodgers. And like I said, he's been hot for a while now. He's had the velocity back up this year, and it looks like he's finally starting to find the command here into this second half. This was an interesting at-bat right here. I'm going to digress for one moment. You see, I just missed the cutter from Robertson there, but I don't miss it the second time, as that one is long gone off of the one of the newest Yankee relief pitchers. But anyway, back to what I was saying about Verlander. So as he continues to pitch well in the second half, it feels more and more inevitable that a team like Houston, and I think you know, Houston actually, not a team like Houston, but Houston themselves, are going to make a play for him. I think Houston has continued to play poorly coming out of the trade deadline, not really making any major moves. I saw something on MLB Network that they had a couple deals in line that sort of just fell through at the last moment. I think one of them was for Britton from Baltimore, and the medicals fell through at the last moment. One of the guys Baltimore was getting in return, Baltimore just they screw around with the medicals a little bit. That team has a reputation of doing so, and I think the story was they did it again with that Houston trade. That was reported on MLB Network, but I don't remember by who, and I didn't see anyone really write about it, so it didn't catch too much in the way of making headlines or anything. But either way, I think Houston is going to make a play for JV before the August 31st non-waiver trade deadline. I think Detroit is going to have to come and eat some of the money on that to get a really good return, because Houston is not going to want to take on all of that salary for the next 2 years beyond this season. I think he makes like $28 million, and that, you know, for 2 more years beyond this season. So that is a lot of money for a team like Houston to swallow. I think Detroit would have to eat a bunch of it, but if they are willing to, I think a deal could come to place. I think Houston, after Dallas Keuchel made those comments coming out of the break, how he was a little bit disappointed, along with everyone else in the clubhouse, that the front office didn't do more to add to the team before the trade deadline. And, you know, they haven't really played well since then. They've been kind of in a funk. A lot of the guys who have been on the DL for them, like McCullers and Keuchel, have come back and have not been the same, and McCullers went back on the DL. Correa is still hurt, so they are fighting it. Only, I think, 4.5 games up on the Red Sox right now for the best record in the league, and maybe 5.5 up on Cleveland. So the home field advantage in the American League is by no means sorted out. As you can see, I just missed a home run right there, hitting that one to the top of the wall, but it was caught by Springer. So, speaking of the Astros, but I think the Astros, you know, if they want to assure themselves of home field, which I don't really know if they care too much about, I think, and I wouldn't either if I was them, I think at this point they should just you know, they're going to win the division. At that point, they should just worry about getting healthy and getting themselves right at the right time. But Verlander only strengthens their chances in the postseason too. So I do think that that move could be made here before the August 31st waiver trade deadline. I've got one more highlight to show you guys before I end out the episode. Just this one clip from this series against the White Sox. I cooled off a little bit towards the end and did not really hit the ball too well. You see, I went 1 for 5 this game, and I got the OPS down just under 800 after my first about 2.5, 3 weeks in the big leagues. But was playing pretty well at the start. Like I said, cooled off a little bit towards the end. So that is going to do it. Hope you guys did enjoy. Thanks for watching, and as always, I am out. Peace.